I think it's really important that we engage in self-care whenever we can. And something came up for me recently about expressing my opinions, and that I am reluctant to do so in a couple of instances because of the notion of self-care. And the phrase that I came up with was, I have other hills to die on. And I want to talk to you about that in this episode of the VO Heroes podcast. So I've stopped talking about certain things that I teach in the VO Heroes Pro community, unless I'm asked directly about them. I've stopped talking about them in general. I've stopped talking about my stair step method. I've stopped talking about the fact that I use the AT2020 USB Plus. In the case of the stair step method, I have a peer, a fellow trainer, who once called my stair step method snake oil, and really was like aggressively negative about it in a public audiobook forum. Clearly, when you mention USB microphones, people have strong opinions about them. They've heard you should never use them. In both cases, with the stair step method and with the AT2020 USB Plus, I feel like I've come to peace with that because I have information and data that the people that have differing opinions about those two items as examples, they don't have. I've made a lot of money with both. I see my clients and students making a lot of money with both. I see examples of success with processes and pieces of technology that kind of harken back to the days when Windows users would make fun of Macintosh users. Oh, you use that little toy computer to do your work? Now you look at what's going on and you go, wow, okay, so how long does it take for that proof to be obvious, to be apparent? But there's also this notion of self-care. To be attacked for promoting something that you know works, but is different from what somebody else uses and works for them, is, for me, taking it a step too far into the space of it being, deleterious to my health, my mental health, my physical health. I don't want to walk around thinking to myself, well, I don't want to piss people off, but I know this works. I'm not going to argue about it. Um, so what I've chosen to do is choose other hills to die on. I'll fight to the death for other things, but not for these, not for this stuff. However, I will absolutely support my community and speak about these things in my community and kind of have that quiet little moment of self-satisfaction knowing that, they don't like what I say. Okay, that's fine. It's their loss, right? And when you have something like that, it can be from many different areas in your life. You've chosen to do a certain amount of things with your free time that other people maybe wouldn't do. You've chosen to pursue a religious a practice that other people wouldn't do, a political practice that other people wouldn't do, a technological practice that other people don't do. Who knows? But it can be really helpful to your ongoing well-being if you don't take that one step further, like those people who disagree with me have, and demand that the rest of the world fall in line with your beliefs. You can just simply go ahead, treat yourself with kindness, treat yourself with a nice amount of self-care, know that what you're doing is working, choose to try some other things if you want to, but rest assured that just because you differ in your opinions or you differ in your procedures or your systems or your strategies or your tactics with somebody else, that's okay. You don't have to make them be like you, just in the same way you don't have to let them make sure you know you're wrong, that you're not like them, you don't do what they do. Does this make sense to you? Have you had these moments where you sit there and you go, "Wow, I feel attacked because I simply disagree with somebody"? I mean, we live in a very tribal society, very polarized, etc. And although this isn't, I don't think, nearly as important as some of the political strife we're feeling, it still is a moment where when my stair step method, which I'm very sure is awesome. I've timed it. I've done races with it. I've done a lot of things to make sure that what I'm teaching is the most efficient and effective way of doing long form narration and doing so in a way that makes sense. Um, I've been attacked, and I felt very very weird about it. And it took me a while to figure all this out, but I just figure I have other hills to die on, and I'll just be like, okay. I read once somebody said a great way to stop somebody who's attacking you is to just say, you know what, you may be right. You're not saying they are right. You're saying they may be right. And that really pisses them off. So, anyway, let me know in the comments below if you have anything you want to say about this, because it can be a really tough thing mentally for some people to do. Also, make sure you hit the like button on these episodes. Forward them to another artist that you think might want to hear this. You can subscribe to the channel. You can hit the like button until till it's blue in the face if you want, and like these episodes. I'd really appreciate it if you did. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching and for listening, and I will see you in the next episode of the VO Heroes podcast.